I just think I want to be happy. That's the goal. Find that happiness somewhere. I'll go my whole life searching for it. My name is Stephen Ross Boogyong. I'm a communications major in special journalism. I'm a senior and I go to Kane University. I did OCC for 1 year, then I transferred to Kane. Then I went to Kane for psychology. I originally was going to be a biology major, but my first bio class was really hard, so I was like, should I do biology? And I heard through a grapevine, hearing a kid, I was eavesdropping on conversation and they were doing psychology. So I was like, I'll do psychology, get into OT school, and become an OT. That was the goal. It switched when I failed out of OT school. That's very much it.
Growing up, he was diagnosed with a learning disability. I was told that I have to put him in a public school so that he can get all the things needed, like the speech. But he keeps asking me, Mom, why I am different from my brother and sister. As a mother, that's really painful. So I told my husband, you know what? What the heck? I'm gonna put him back to the Catholic school. I don't care driving him to Elizabeth to get that. And I have to fight for that. So he really went through a lot with all those things until finally we moved to Arizona. And then eventually he became okay. Teenage years, I don't really have much problem, but I think it was in 2010 when his dad, my late husband, was having problem with his health.
Since I was 16 years old to probably 24, it was just all about my dad.
When we went to Mayo Clinic, he was like a problem with all his muscles, and we were told that he cannot go back to work. So it was decided that he will just stay home. I was the only one working then. And then these kids were too young. Until 2013, then the help I need there is all in here. Because in Arizona, it's like you're always driving. It's too much driving around. So we decided to come back.
There was pressure on me to get my driver's license right away because my sister was at college and my brother was at college. But my mom had to work extra hours to help pay for the bills. So if I didn't get it right away, then who would drive him to his PT meetings and OT meetings? That's also why I became an OT, because I realized they didn't have enough occupational therapists, or why I wanted to become an OT. I realized they didn't have enough occupational therapists around, and I felt like it was an easy job, even though I failed out.
When they were young, we really have a comfortable life. We can afford to go to London, go to Hong Kong, Australia, Philippines. We used to do that. But then when my husband got sick in 2010, we cannot, because he is like 5'11", he gained so much weight until, he deteriorated. He has to be in a wheelchair. We have to feed him, and then they have to help me. I think it was in here that he was finally given a diagnosis.
He was diagnosed with multiple system atrophy, which is a deadly cousin of Parkinson's disease. So we actually did not know he had that. We spent like 5 years of his diagnosis wondering what it was. At first, they thought it was leukemia or some sort of cancer, but that was quickly like brushed off.
From him going from high school, kid with no responsibilities, to going in, being in a new state, starting college, it was kind of different from him. Like, he didn't have that traditional college experience that I think he was searching for.
It affected my college career because I wanted to go out of state. I did not want to stay in New Jersey. I was looking at schools in Maryland. There was a school called Stevens I really liked. And I remember telling my mom, it's like, oh, when I get my associates at OCC or something, I want to go there. And she was like, I can't have you be that too far from us. What if something happens to your dad?
The apartment, we used to live in a 2-bedroom apartment, and it's a senior living. So Stephen and Russell are not with us. It's really painful because he separated from their kids.
And even when I did go to Kane the first time, I was lucky enough to have my brother go to Rutgers Newark and my cousin to go Seton Hall. We were able to share an apartment together. But every weekend, I would have to go back home to help my dad. And sometimes I would just spend the night during the week, commute to Kane, and go back. So just like what I'm doing now.
Among the three of them, Stephen was the most helpful because when he comes and visit us, at the time, I think he was already at Kane with his psychology major. When he comes, he bathed him, feed him. He was so helpful. That's why I thought he was really go to that OT because he knows what he's doing.
That's a lot to ask for one person like my mom, taking care of somebody who's probably plus 200 pounds, and my mom's only like 5'2", to bring them to therapy, make sure they're taking a shower, they're wheelchair bound, they can't feed themselves, they can't walk. And it taught me a lot about growing up. It taught me how other people see you, because you don't know how, when you see people with walkers, you're just like, oh, I feel bad for them. But when you're the family with the person with the walker, you get that sympathy, and I hate that.
When he got sick, 2010, 2012, before moving, I already prepared the power of attorney, everything, the advance directive, because it came to the point that he cannot talk anymore. He cannot hold anything. It's so painful to see him going down. But prior to that, he was already telling me, if I am gone, I want you to buy a house so you can live together. Because it was also painful for him. Imagine when they were young, we can afford to send them to private school, take them, abroad, go on vacation most of the time. But then when he got sick, when I was only the one working, and I really should say that I really adore my kids, because there was a point that they have these latest gadgets, all the games. And then when they only saw me that I'm only the one working, from up there they went down there and they did not complain.
And I just wanted life to be normal. But I knew since that moment he was diagnosed, it would never be normal again.
We spent Christmas, New Year, our wedding anniversary, my birthday at the hospital with him. And then Stephen and the others, they come and visit us. Until one day, I think I walked the dog. When I came back, he was dead already. He died in his sleep. So I have to call my kids. I had to tell them that your dad is gone. So they came, and and then at that time I didn't even know that he was having problem with his school, because I was so focused on taking care of my husband.
The year I started grad school was the summer he died. I think him dying had an impact on me, but I'm not going to say it was the thing that pushed me to go back to journalism, because I felt so guilty failing out of school. That's when, I got diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and I was the most medicated on depression pills, or Lexapro.
Bipolar disorder used to be called manic depression. So bipolar disorder is where someone, basically the emotions rule them, in the sense that their brain doesn't quite modulate the emotional expression, sometimes called emotional dysregulation, the way other people do. So they can get on real highs, and that high isn't just, wow, I feel good, it's a great day. It starts that way, which is one of the reasons they often like it. And why people who are bipolar may sometimes go off the medication, because they miss the high. But it goes a lot further than that. It goes to, wow, I can rule the world. But the real problem for many is the reverse, the depression. They sink into a deep, deep depression. of just nothing is right in life. And if you've ever been depressed, you know what happens is something called mood congruency in memory. So what happens is everything is horrible. And when you look back on life, it will never be good again. Everything is lousy. That's usually where it becomes a major issue and they end up in a hospital again, because now they can become seriously suicidal.
So during the pandemic, I gained 25 pounds and found myself contemplating my life. And I was just thinking about, let's do it. Let's do it. There's nothing for you anymore. So let's go in your car, go to the nearest bridge, and just jump off. Let's just do that. Let's do that. Then I knew how much my mom was a wreck once my dad died. And I always told myself, even though I have those thoughts, I don't want to leave my mom with 2 broken hearts. And then it hit me. I always wanted to be in communications. I always wanted to do something creative. And I like reading stories. I found that reading somebody else's life so I could escape mine for a bit was something I really enjoyed. So if I could tell other people's stories and just hide myself within them, I would feel better. And that was the first year of the pandemic. I actually applied to another school because I was embarrassed to go back to Kane, because I didn't want to see my professors. I didn't want to see anybody I knew because I knew there was an off chance I could. And that was just my own embarrassment when I knew I should have just done it straight from the start.
He told me that, Mom, I don't think I am for the OT, you know? And then he told me his problem, that he's having mental problem.
I was very embarrassed to tell my mom that I was having panic attacks, or I was sad, or I would cry myself to sleep sometimes and not want to get up, because there's a very stigma of the Asian community in mental health. And there's always the men in mental health thing, which I think is completely unfair, because feelings are feelings and everybody has the right to proper mental health. I just didn't know that was an option for me. And I'm going to be honest too, my sister also had mental health issues at the time, and my dad was also sick. So did I want to be another burden to my mom? And I always felt like that was the reason I never reached for help. She saw me losing weight and gaining weight constantly. She would always ask if I was okay, and I would just lie to her. Yeah, I'm fine.
And then finally he told me, I just don't want to tell you because you have been so, carrying this heavy load already.
Because I really didn't want to be another thing she had to look over or worry about when she already had my dad and, of course, my sister.
My husband, his dad dream is really for him to go to OT. But then finally, I keep pushing him to go back because that is your dad's dream. Filipinos are like that.
I knew that's what he wanted me to do. That's what every Asian family wants their kid to do, be in the medical field.
Finally, I have a good friend. I went to Rhode Island one day and she told me, why don't you just let your kid be happy? And then I said, you know what? He's such a good boy. I didn't have any problem with him. With growing up, I didn't have any problem with the 3 of them because he kept everything to himself. So I was really surprised when he told me that he has this mental health problem. He gave me one more check. He went back to check if he really is really for the medical field. And then I said, Stephen, you know what? You don't have to do that. Do what will make you happy. Because I remember when he was young, he loves writing. He's very creative.
Writing helps me create a different world that I'm not a part of. It gives me the power to have an ending or control the situation.
I wasn't surprised. I just wanted him to have a game plan rather than, feeling sad about himself, because it's so easy to get a route like that. I was surprised, and I was happy for him, and I knew this was a field that he wanted to initially, go after, but Filipino Filipino standards are kind of different in a traditional Filipino household. So
It's hard, especially in like when you're a little bit older like me, like in your mid-20s, and you're comparing yourself with all these kids who went to college and high school too. And we all are victim of that, you know. But, you know, people I know like literally jump off bridges or like skateboard with are like parents and have 9 to 5s and are just like spending money, enjoying their lives. Meanwhile, I'm back in college, which isn't a bad thing. I don't discourage anybody from having a second chance, but it's definitely something I wish I didn't feel sometimes, but I can't help not to feel it. Right now, I don't have the luxury of financial aid anymore because I am a second degree student. So most of the money I do pay for school is coming out of pocket. So I have to work multiple days a week in order to get that money. Having the time to study, commuting, probably driving, spending at least 8 hours in the car because I live kind of far from work too. So about like a whole day's worth in the car is pretty hard. And sometimes, like, you know, I don't want to go do that hour drive, spend money on gas. But you know what? Money don't go with you when you die.
I will always make sure he's okay. We're like best friends, and I want to see him grow and like, you know, really begin his journey.
I'm a part of Kane TV in the Tower, and I'm also big fans of Kane Playlist and Kane Dance Theater. Kane TV gave me the opportunity to be creative. I'm not saying like it's been the easiest road, but I have met like really great people at Kane TV. And I have been working with a bunch of creative minds and people who I've learned to love and respect. I just can't wait to see their careers grow.
Shot 2 of episode 2, scene 12. Take 1. Action!
I work with a lot of great writers. It's taught me like journalism is a competitive field, but it's also like a friendly field. Like when you work on the same staff with people, people are always willing to help you out. I have made really good friends here. I even have a girlfriend here.
Spin around. Oh.
So why is the press looking at us? That's freaking weird.
You recording?
Yes.
But I think for the most part, just getting back on campus and like having a college life that was taken away from me, like hanging out with friends or going out to parties or just being around people have definitely helped.
He didn't really have this friend group when he was first at Kane. And I think, you know, that's why, you know, everything happens for a reason. And it's fortunate that, you know, you guys slipped into his life because I think he was searching for that.
My mom, for sure, has been one of my biggest supporters, even though I know she doesn't really get journalism. And a part of her wishes I would still go to OT, but I think she's at the point where she just wants me to be happy too.
When he told me, Jordan, he said, "What?" I said, "What? You wanted, you know what?" I said, take a real course first. That something that, you know, if you don't make good in that first course, you have a second course. You know, that's why I wanted to. But then he said he wanted journalism. Okay, cannot do anything. You know, he always, at anything I want before, plus his dad, he always follows us. So I said this time it's your life, you know. And okay, you go. I was happy, but I'm not really happy with the course. When he told, and I was planning to send, Mom, I might go to master's. Huh?
My brother and my sister, my 2 best friends in the world, who helped me pay for tuition. I can't thank them enough. And especially because they've been through what I've been through too. And they handled it a little bit better, but I think them just being around and being great older siblings have helped me a lot. I'm at a point in my life where I want money, but I also know money is not everything, because some of the best moments I had in my life were literally just moments I had with my family, just together in like old retirement apartment they used to live at when it was just me and my siblings and them, just like, you know, just together.
I was telling him that, you know, like, he's gonna be like, if he's rich, don't forget your mom. I told him that. It might be, but no, he's very creative. I told him, you can be anybody because you have the psychology major, you have this journalism, you're good in writing. Maybe I'm gonna see him in the television, like a broadcaster, or I don't know, a cameraman maybe.
The dream goal, if I could pick a career, would be a style editor for GQ, or eventually make my own media journalism company.
He went through a lot, but he was able to, do what he wants to do. He really pursued it. His mind was focused on what he wants to do. And I'm very, very proud of him.
I just think I want to be happy. That's the goal. Find that happiness somewhere. I'll go my whole life searching for it. You should come first in your life, even when you feel worthless and you feel like the whole world's against you. There's always a brighter side to everything. And it might take you your whole lifetime to find it, but it's there, and second chances happen. That's why they're called second chances. And sometimes they're better than their first.